Hello, everyone. This is Darcy Hardy with the Hardy Group at eXp Realty.
And Keith Pitch with Loan Depot, the Pitch Mortgage team, coming at you.
We are reality. I do this every time. Realty experts.
We're also reality experts.
We are reality experts.
Grounded in reality, not virtual reality. There's no Oculus here.
No.
We're talking real numbers. We're talking real property. And we're talking about real things that are happening today in the real estate market, which makes us realty experts. Oh, nice. Nailed it. Nailed it. So today is a very fine day. Do you know what makes today such a fine day today, Darcy?
The Fed met.
The Fed met. Today is November 2nd. Here we are. It's holiday season. Bob Ross in the house, back again. What up?
I'm not ready for that yet.
Happy little holidays. Let's go. So, we're going to jump right into rate the rates because the Federal Reserve Chair,
It's a big deal.
Jerome Powell, came on out, said, hey, we're going to do it again like we said we're going to do. And they did. I don't know why I went Southern with that, but I did. So here we go, guys. We are now looking at another 3/4 rate increase, which is no surprise, right? There is no surprise here. Inflation numbers were still high coming out of September. October numbers are very funny. They're going to come out next week, which is a little bit post-mortem. But here we go. We're going to do another 3/4% interest rate hike. Your home equity lines of credit, your credit cards, all that fun stuff just in time for the holidays is going to go up again. So that's fun. It's also what I believe is a reason why this is the first week that refinance applications have actually increased.
Whoa.
What? Are you kidding me? So refinance applications are actually on the increase. And I think what is driving that is cash out refinances.
Yeah.
Folks that have these credit cards that are now, they were down in the single digits, some of them. They were down at 10, 11%. Now with the 4% interest rates increase that we've seen, we're now 14, 15, 20%, depending on where you're at. So
yeah.
Refinance.
And really, do you want to spend, 16% interest on your credit card or 7% interest on your mortgage?
Yeah.
It's really a personal decision because it depends what your numbers look like and how long you plan on being in a place.
I'll tell you the fundamentals that I break down for my clients. I say your capacity to save is key, right? Your cash flow as a household is paramount. If you got yourself in a hole with credit card debt, own it, move through it, and figure out a better way to apply yourself, as well as if you can get over that hurdle and create savings on a monthly basis as opposed to just paying the popper and basically treading water, you're in a much better position. So that's what we do. We talk to people in this increasing rate environment and saying, hey, look, I get that mortgage rates are over here in the high 6s, mid 7s, and your credit cards are over here at 20%. Depending on how much in a balance you have, depending on where your first mortgage is at, we look at all of those numbers. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news in the giving season, but it's going to happen again in December. We're going to have another rate hike in December, though they are planting the seeds that it's going to be smaller, and then they're pretty much going to take their foot, the Fed I'm referring to, they're pretty much going to take their foot off the gas and just let it lie. So
they have been very, very open with us and have told the whole world, we plan on raising rates this year. I mean, from the beginning of the year on, they have told us very vocally every single time. We want to jump back quickly to a previous episode and remind everybody that when they raise the rates, it's not the mortgage rates that they're raising.
Correct.
They're raising the T-bonds, the treasury bond rates.
Yep.
And that has a trickle effect on everything. Oftentimes, it causes the mortgage rates to go up. However, we are in a recessionary period, or we're getting there.
We're still debating that.
The funny thing about recessions is you never know when they started until afterwards.
Right.
But
we have lots of rear view mirror looking forecasts going on right now. So We're going to jump into today's show and talk about interest rates, their impact, and where they're going. And I think right now, above any other time, education on your budget, education on your debt is paramount. If you can be educated in those two places, it's going to be very powerful for you, because debt can be a great tool. It can also bury you alive.
It's super, super important that you express honestly to your lender and your realtor what situations you're faced with, because so many people try to cover that up. And I get some people are ashamed of different things or whatever, but we can't help you unless you show it to us. Plus, as the lender, they're going to find out anyways.
Yeah, we have our ways. There's lots of, so everything right now, especially in the state of Washington, we're a public disclosure state, right? There is a report for everything. If it's through a creditor, if it's done through the county, if it's done through a municipality, we're going to find it, right? So, the cool thing about it is your mortgage, I say this all the time, your mortgage originator is like your defense attorney, right? The underwriter is your judge, right? So if you can come talk to your defense attorney, me, your loan originator, and say, hey, look, I had a BK, I've got a collection, I've got this, I'm still on the car loan with my ex-husband or ex-wife, I don't know what to do. If you can give us all that information up front, as opposed to going through numerous depositions to find out the answers over the span of 30, 60, 90 days, or while you're under contract, that's the worst position to be. So my takeaway from that is, let us know up front. We're going to help you in every way that we legally can, because, as lawyers, we can't omit material fact. But
not that he's a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. I only play one on podcasts.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. But long story short, let us know what you got going on up front, and we can get you in the right place right out the gate.
Before seeing that underwriter/judge.
Right. Or before seeing that beautiful house that you just love and can't live without, and then all of a sudden you have all this pain and heartache because I can't make an offer on it. And that's troublesome.
It really is. So I think that's a great comparison. I really do. With that, let's jump into Mythbusters.
Ooh, yeah. Come on. Gotta do it. You can do it. I'm going to go on the outside of my headset. Let's see if that works. Does that work? I think that works. Yeah. You can do it. Just pull tight. Oh, there you go. She got it right in between the little, yeah. There. Oh,
good enough for now.
I love us when we do this. This is my favorite.
Okay. Myth. Now you're hearing a lot about rate buy downs right now.
Can we do a role play?
Sure.
Can we do a role play?
Great. What am I playing?
You be the real estate agent and I'll be the buyer. Hey, Darcy, I know we want to go buy that house for $600,000, but my mortgage originator was telling me about this really cool product. It's called a 2-1 buy down. And I think that's the best way. And then I also want to offer like $25,000 less and get $25,000 off the seller, because it's now a buyer's market. And I just want to see all the sellers like squirm a little bit.
Right.
What can I do with my $25,000? I want a 2-1 buy down, because that's really cool stuff.
Okay, so my very first question would be, well, how long do you plan on being in this house?
Oh, well, this is our family house, so we're going to be there until the kids are done with high school, so at least another 7 years.
Okay, so I get that you talked some about a 2-1 buy down. However, if you plan on being there for a longer period of time, let's run the numbers to see what it would save you for a 2-1 buy down versus what it would save you to do a permanent
My
buy
mortgage
down.
originator didn't run the numbers. He just said a 2-1 buy down. I could, instead of starting at 7.25%, I could start at 5.25%.
Right. So did you go over what a 2-1 buy down is over the multiple years that you will have this loan, how that'll affect it?
Should I have asked that question? Sidebar, this is me again, but this is legitimate conversation right now.
It
So
really is.
2-1 buy down. Let's talk about a 2-1 buy down. 2-1 buy down says the start rate on a 30-year fix today. Let's, for example purposes, we're using 7.25%, right? So the 2-1 buy down says the first 12 payments, you can have a reduction in your effective interest rate by 2%. And then in the second year, payment number 13 through 24, you get a reduction of 1%. So we've got a note rate. Your mortgage is built out of, and you have to qualify for a 7.25% interest rate, but you just get this introduction period for the first 2 years, 2% below the start rate, and then 1% below the start rate. And a little unknown fact that isn't in a lot of the marketing material out there is there's what's called a rate buy down subsidy fee that typically on a transaction of this nature at $600,000 is somewhere between $12,000 and $14,000. It is the responsibility of the buyer, the mortgage applicant, to foot that bill unless they can defer it to other parties, i.e. the seller, in a form of a seller credit, right? So
just crazy.
So the questions that we're getting asked right now that we wanted to bring to the show today is like, okay, you got your heart set on a $25,000 concession in some way, shape, or form. What is the best way to use this $25K? So we put together an illustration, and
this is such, I mean, it's coming up daily right now.
Daily.
It is such a big deal. And so many people in the public are hearing things like 2-1 buy downs or rate buy downs and have no understanding of what it is. Just because somebody mentions it to you doesn't mean it is right for you. You'll recognize my first question was, how long do you plan on being in the house? If you had planned on being in the house for only 2 years, it might have been a good way to go.
Correct. Absolutely. And that's not the first time we've asked that question.
No, that is a very common question for us.
And so with the illustration that we've prepared, and it'll be down in the comments here for the show, we said, okay, great. If everything's equal, how does this scenario play out for you, the buyer, right? So we just benchmarked this against a standard 30-year fix on a $600,000 purchase in column 1. No concessions, no nothing. You're going to put down 10% and you're going to pay the 7.25% and off you go, right? So you can see down here, the payment is $4,200 and $4,200 and some change, right? Everybody, Darcy, how many buyers are you working with right now that are saying, "Hey, Darcy, I want to get the sales price down"?
Oh, everybody. It's like the chums in the water. And the buyers have felt so powerless for so long that they want to be the shark that comes in and completely obliterates the seller. Now, I'm going to go with it's not a great idea.
Yeah.
For many reasons. But that is kind of the feeling right now in the market, which is funny because it's not even really a buyer's market yet.
No, statistically, it's not. In the recent market environments that we've had, it's not a buyer's market. It's a seller's market. Oh, well,
it feels like a buyer's market compared to what we've been in.
Yeah, it's the best environment a buyer has been in since 2018, 2017, right?
Yeah.
So we have the 30-year fix. Okay, if you got nothing from the seller and you just came to the table, boom, you're paying that 30-year fix. Now, price reduction versus a rate buy down is a very interesting thing. Money in your pocket is better in your pocket than it is in your house. So if we go do a price reduction of that $25,000 and we bring that purchase price down to $575,000, look where your payment comes down. It comes down $150.
Which I can't tell you how many people would be like, yeah, we negotiated down $25,000. Like, be all proud of that.
Saving $125 a month.
Woo!
We're good. We're good.
I can buy myself an extra Starbucks now.
An extra?
A day.
How about 2? Yeah. So, well, with their prices, it could just be 1. You're right. Anyway, so you save $150 a month. And, on the surface, that sounds good. But the question is, what else could you have done with that $25,000?
Well, not to mention, 125,000 is, I mean, $125 a month or 150?
150, sorry.
150.
Yep.
So $1,800 a year.
There's nothing to scoff at. I mean,
it's going to take you 13.9 years to recoup that $25,000 in a lower payment. If you're just looking at straight payment, if you're not doing the whole, what could I have done with that money otherwise, you're going to be in that house for at least 14 years before you would recognize that you had a savings there.
Right. So the other thing that buyers, I need you to tune in really quick. If you ask the seller to reduce the price of the house, you're now setting the comps for that neighborhood. Your your 575 is now the new baseline for that neighborhood. Now you need the next house to sell for more than yours so you can get your value back up.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to catch a falling knife right now. And so I'm a huge fan of keeping $25,000 in your pocket. So if we could look at either a rate buy down, a permanent rate buy down, not the temporary 2-1 buy downs, but a permanent rate buy down, is that better for you? So in our third column here, we're again benchmark against the 30-year fixed, a rate buy down. If we took all that $25,000, said, hey, seller, instead of lowering your price, how about you give me a $25,000 seller credit towards my closing costs, and we buy down that interest rate. We buy that interest rate down to 5.99, and now you're saving $449 a month.
That's pretty significant.
That's some cheddar.
Yeah. You can do something with that more than Starbucks.
That's life changing cheddar, because now if you can take that $450 and go put it into an asset that is returning a greater rate of return than 5.99,
right?
Boom, that's the power of interest,
right?
So that's,
or get a lot more Starbucks.
You get a lot, or get lots. Yes, Jay. Yeah, you're right. You could get lots more Starbucks. Lots more Starbucks. So I want to then address the final elephant in the room, because ever since we started selling, that we being the industry of mortgage started selling and promoting 2-1 buy down, 2-1 buy down, 2-1 buy down. I have been counter 2-1 buy down, because to Darcy's point, if you're going to be in the house for 2 years and you're out, great.
I'd rather the $25,000 in my pocket, but
I would really ask one question. If you're only going to be there 2 years and hold on to this house for 2 years, is it really going to pencil for you after 2 years? Because you're going to have exit costs and you're going to have maintenance costs over those 2 years that maybe buying a house. And yes, this is a real estate show. This is a real estate show that I'm going to say maybe buying a house isn't right for you.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful stuff, right?
And these are conversations we have with our clients all the time.
All the time.
We tell them, no, don't buy a house. I mean, if you're going to, we'll help you, but it doesn't seem like a reasonable way to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So here we have the 2-1 buy down, and the 2-1 buy down is setting, I believe, people up for failure, right? Great. We have an effective rate of 5.25%, and it is a cost savings of $701 a month for the first 12 months. And then you're going to kick up to 6.25%. And then you're going to come to the full note rate. So if you're going to be there long-term, we got to scroll down just a little bit to see what the long-term impacts of these illustrations are. So here's your monthly payment difference, right? But if we look at the savings
For the first year.
No, these are monthly payment differences.
Right, for the first year, because that $700 savings is only for the first year.
No, yes, for the first year, it's $701 in savings a month.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this tool doesn't allow me to granularly break out each year. Sure. But so this is the starting of each period. Over 5-year time, you're going to actually come out $10,000 ahead if you actually just did the permanent buy down.
Mm-hmm. And it's only 5 years.
It's 5 years. In 5 years, you're 10 grand ahead. So the question about real estate that I think a lot of people miss is, how long am I going to be in that house? What is the goal of this house?
And we certainly understand that life changes. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've sold a house to and they planned it on it being their forever house. And a few years later, I get a call saying, surprise, life changed.
Right.
Now we need to sell and do something different.
Octuplets.
Yes. I haven't had octuplets yet.
No?
Personally, thank God. But I haven't had clients with octuplets yet either. But you know, jobs change. Spouses can sometimes change. There's many things that can change in life.
Happens.
It happens.
Life
And
happens.
as much as you try to control it, you can't. So go in with what your intentions are, knowing what your intentions are, having that plan, and let's plan around your plan.
Yeah. And I mean, the best laid plans are great, but they are subject to change. I forget who said it. I think it was Mike Tyson, or one of the boxers said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right? I don't remember who it was, but you know, you got a great plan, go get after it. And if life happens and you need to make a change or what have you, again, come to us, have those questions, and we can find strategies and execute on those strategies for you. The one thing that really concerns me with this 2-1 buy down is the mortgage industry right now is selling it as Russian roulette, in my opinion. They're saying,
they're being really
but don't worry about it. We're just going to get you on these start rates because in 2 years, you're definitely going to be able to refinance. Please, 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 if you're out there and your mortgage originator said that to you and they put it in writing, save that email. And then when rates don't come back down, you can use that email to go to the CFPB and turn them in for setting a precedent that they had zero control over, because that kind of crap absolutely just rubs me the wrong way.
I smell a lawsuit.
Smells horrible.
Yeah.
Guys, there's no guarantees that rates are going to go down. There's no guarantees that rates aren't going to stop going up, right? So when we talk about mortgages, when we talk about long-term success, you have to understand what that looks like. I can't go out there and tell you that, you should do the 2-1 buy down because rates are going to come back down in June because the Mortgage Bankers Association said so, which they did.
They did.
We're going to talk about that next. But, you know, you got to understand you're kind of slamming that thing closed and hoping that you get there. And hope is not a strategy for success. And
I don't think either one of us thinks that rates will ever in our lifetime be back down into like the 3s.
We'll never see 2s and 3s again. If we ever get there, we should all consider ourselves horribly lucky, and we should because there's going to be something catastrophic as another pandemic, as another whatever it is. The only time rates get super duper low is when global what hits the fan. So knock on wood, I would love to get us back into a normalized world where we're seeing somewhere in the 4 to 5% interest rate environment, and we just continue to move forward with that.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Okay, so yes, in 5 years you will be significantly better.
Yeah.
With that $25,000 used to buy down the rate.
Well, can we bring that up one more time, Jay? Because there's the last thing. I like to say, okay, hey, I'm in this house for 15 years. Look at the amount of interest you'd be paying. Right here. You'd be paying in the first 15 years of that 2-1 buy down, you'd pay $520,000 worth of interest on your house, as opposed to only paying $438,000 worth of interest on your house. You're saving $90,000 worth of interest on the house just by doing a permanent buy down and not playing the rates going up, going down game.
I mean, it's ugly no matter what, but that's the cost of borrowing money.
It's the cost of borrowing money. Yeah, it's the cost of funds, right? And so it's something that folks need to go in eyes wide open with and see these numbers at work for them. And figure out what really makes sense. So on that, yes,
here's a question that I'm sure you're getting all the time. I'm getting it a lot. Is it better to rent until rates come back down, or is it better to buy?
We have a client like this right now. That depends, Darcy.
I know
That
there's so many
depends.
questions involved in that one. So how do you handle that?
So, I mean, realistically, we work with budget, right? People buy on monthly payment.
They do.
They buy on monthly payment. And so the question is, okay, where I tend to start is I tend to start at their current housing expense. Darcy, how much are you paying in rent right now? Right? I'm paying $3,000. I'm paying $4,000 a month in rent for my little house that I have for my kids and my family or what have you. And I say, well, where do you want your budget to be when it comes to a housing expense? And they guide us.
$800 a month, please.
Yeah.
I've actually had that one recently, which was a good one.
Was that a joke or was it legit?
Oh, that was a legit.
Wow.
That's why I
Oklahoma's
did not
nice.
introduce them to you.
Oklahoma is very nice. I'm sure you can find something in the 150 to 160 range for that.
Yeah. So in being realistic, in this greater Seattle area, for a single family house, $4,000 a month is kind of typical to maybe even low these days. I mean,
Wow.
it's insane.
Well, you helped us sell our house in Issaquah, and we were renting it out for just below $4,000 a month. And, you know, it was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, split level, 1960-something everyday house.
Yep.
Right? And so, you know, what we do is we ask what your budget is, and then we look at what can you afford for that budget? What can you be put into? So we presented another illustration, and this illustration is more to understand where we've been, where we're at right now, and where we can go. Because I want to circle back. We had this discussion in our pre-production. Like, it's a really interesting time to buy a house, right? It's a crossroads. It's still the American dream. I think NAR's, National Association of Realtors, last survey for first-time homebuyers, the millennial folks out there, that still like 76 or 78% of them believe that they will buy a house.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have this huge pent-up huge group of folks coming through to buy housing, which is great for values and for all of that. So what can we do with a $4,000 budget? And so we have another illustration here, the then, now, and where we're going in the future. So in the first column, this is a cool rent comparison. We've got $4,000 a month in rent. And what will that look like? Like, man, we were euphoric in 20 and 21. So this is July of 2020, where we troughed out. Look at this rate. It's 2.75%.
Yes,
Holy
please.
guaca chickens, right? So this was far, 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 far under a $4,000 rent, right? $1,000 under a $4,000 rent.
And that was for a $750,000
Oh yeah,
house.
we didn't set the stage. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's $750,000 purchase price with 20% down, so a loan amount of $600,000.
Right.
Right. So this was awesome. I could get out of my dumpy rental that the oven light doesn't work, and I can get into my house and actually save
It's
$1,000 a month.
Absolutely.
Woo! Now we're at 6.99 on this scenario, right? So now this payment is, okay, hey, I'm going to have to step up by about 15% on my monthly budget because now I'm shelling out $4,500 a month. There are taxes and homeowners insurance involved in that, you know, and then you're paying your principal and interest. So to go out there and buy a house in the greater Seattle area, I'm going to have to step up my budget. How do I feel about that right now, right? That's where a lot of the questions are coming. How do I feel about that?
Yeah.
Do I feel good about that? Do I think that values are going to come back down? Do I feel that values are going to stabilize? Where are values going to go? If we knew that answer, we wouldn't have to do this podcast.
Let me consult my magic 8-ball.
Oh, hey, So we'd be rubbing elbows with Warren Buffett, quite frankly. So long story short, right now we're in this rent may feel better situation. The future is still the unknown, right? So we just had the rate hike today, and then we put in the last two columns the future. And I think the future is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, quite frankly. I think we have a Dr. Jekyll situation where we can see rates continue to climb up even into the 8s.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are predicting that right now.
Right.
But there's also a handful of people that are predicting the 5s.
Right. There's a flip side to that. So the future, if we get up to 8.25, so I'm fast forwarding to June. About 2 weeks ago, the Mortgage Bankers Association said, hey, these Fed interest rate hikes are working, and we're going to see interest rate relief in the mortgage industry come to us by summertime. And it'll be in full force by the end of 23. And we expect rates to be back down to 5.4% on a 30-year fixed, which is column number 4, right? So, hey, if that's the case, great. Guess what's going to happen?
Yeah, your payment's not going to be as high as it would be if you bought right now.
Your payment's coming down, and your payment now gets better than renting.
Right.
Because you get to own and you get to rent. The flip side to that, if we get up to 8.25, your payment goes up to $5,000, $5,100. So
and it's supply and demand. So the more people that think renting is better, the higher rents are going to go.
The higher rents are going to go. So we're going to continue to keep the wheel of life moving forward in this cyclical thing. Long story short, my belief is if we get to a place where the Mortgage Bankers Association is right and we get back down to 5 in the 5s, everybody's going to think real estate is on sale again.
Woohoo! Prices are going to go up.
Multiple offers will come back. Inventory will find itself scarce again. And we will be back in that situation where we were just not a year ago.
You know, here's the thing. Every single realtor and lender out there will tell you something different because, like we said, there's no crystal ball that's able to predict this for us. In fact, in this building right now, I know of myself and one other agent. The other agent does not think it's a good time to buy. I think it's a good time to buy. My thought process on that is I'd rather my buyer be able to negotiate, do inspections, and get the price low right now with the hope of being able to refinance it in the future. But even if they're not able to because rates didn't go down, if they didn't go down, they went up, which means they're still in a better position.
Right.
Other people believe, you know, as rates go up, if they go up even more, that prices are going to come down. No matter what, if you try to time the market, you're going to mess up. The only people that get the best of all worlds and buy at the perfect time are the people that got darn lucky.
Yeah. Luck is their best friend.
Yep. So this is, you know, my take on it. I think it's a good time to buy right now. I know a lot of realtors that are buying right now, a lot of lenders that are buying right now. I'm a big fan of looking at the people in the industry to see how they're acting.
Yeah, I think I said this on our last episode, and if I didn't, I want to echo the sentiment. The right time to buy for you is when the numbers work.
Yep.
When the numbers work for you. Everybody has a different rent situation. Everybody has a different life situation. You may be going through a divorce. We have a divorce show. If you are going through a divorce, go look up that
check
show.
That one out.
It was a great show. You could be expecting another child. You need a bigger house. Life continues to happen regardless what interest rates are, right? We all need a place to live.
Yep.
And that is a fundamental of life. Shelter is a fundamental of life. So we will continue. We're just going to continue in a different path than a 25, 27, 24% appreciation year over year over year. So when the numbers work for you and you owe yourself the opportunity to have the conversation about whether or not buying a house right now is right for you or buying the next investment property, whatever those numbers work for you, your numbers are going to be different than your friends at the barbecue.
Absolutely.
So
always
do take caution in comparing yourself to, well, Johnny at the barbecue just got this and I want that too. And
I'm sorry, Johnny often lies.
Ooh, Johnny's a liar. Damn. News at 11. Johnny's a liar.
Let's pull up the
what are we pulling up?
The difference net monthly payments.
Oh yeah, we'll scroll down to the bottom of that illustration.
Yeah, that illustration there, and rent versus principal over time. Because I think those are really interesting.
Are you trying to talk about principal?
I'm sorry. That's what I meant.
Oh, we're talking about life of the loan interest.
Yeah, so the 60 months, the 5-year piece, and then the
Gotcha.
15-year piece, because we talked about those on the other ones. So let's look at these here.
Where does your magical rent check go?
In somebody else's pocket.
Yeah. So in the next, so we said again, $4,000 a month in rent. You're paying that out $48,000 a year, and so in the next 5 years, you get to line your landlord's pockets with a $250,000.
Pretty much.
Sweet for your landlord.
Can I be your landlord?
Yeah, right. cut me that check.
Seriously.
So in the illustration, if we look at rent versus principal paid, you know, it was super nice because you were really paying aggressively on principal back when rates were 2 3/4. Well, that's not here today. So what's here today is right here. You would pay $35,000 and have a $35,000 equity position based on just paying your mortgage, just paying your house payment every month. You're going to have almost $36,000 to do something with.
Yep.
So that's pretty powerful.
Versus just giving away.
Just versus giving away $240,000.
No,
So,
I'm a big fan of there's times that you should rent. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the answer for everybody.
right.
But for a lot of people, you really got to look at the whole picture. You can't just compare the monthly numbers. You have to look at the longer term, what things look like. And that's what this is.
Yeah, and we get to run those numbers for people, and it's super empowering because when people see numbers like that and say, "Oh my gosh, I just literally hand out $250,000 and I could have $36,000," that's pretty cool. You're paying yourself. Time is your friend in any market, right? So right now, if you're playing that game, because we're going to talk really quick, I think it's important that we talk about this. In the state of Washington, you buyers are very, very blessed. You have very few fees to pay. In selling a house, what does it cost to sell a house?
We commonly tell people that it's about 10% of the purchase price.
10%.
That is what we say as an average. It can be, I'd say most of my clients, it ends up being around 9%.
Okay.
For much higher priced homes, it can be more because of excise taxes.
Excise tax, yeah, because we have a graduated excise tax here.
Right.
But the reason why that's important, because if you go out and buy that house,
Yeah.
and we slow back down to normal appreciation, which is somewhere between 4 and 5%, it's going to take you 2 years to get to that point where you've seen a price appreciation
Yeah, where you'd break even
that would
for selling the
warrant
house.
selling the house.
Yeah.
Right. To break even. So just keep that in mind. We've been super spoiled in the last 3 years with our appreciation rates, which I love, don't get me wrong, but we're going to slow down. So we definitely need to say, hey, is this where I want to live? Is this the commute that I want to have? Is this where I want my kids to go to school? Is that the park that I want to go walk my dog at?
Yeah.
Those are the questions that we're getting back to right now, as opposed to, well, should I waive inspection, or how many hundreds of thousands of dollars do I have to come in over asking price?
So true. You know, it just reminded me of we do different ads and things like that, Facebook and Instagram and whatever, as most businesses do. But one of mine that's coming out is called "Marry the House, Not the Rate."
Date the rate.
Date
Yep.
the rate.
Date the rate.
Marry the house.
Yep.
Date the rate. You really need to choose wisely on your house because you're going to be there for a while. And when places were flying off the shelf, clients didn't care as much about the house that they bought. They were just excited to get into something.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people would say, "Oh, I don't care that there's a giant water tower right behind the house." Well, you should. And we actually did an episode on
Oh yeah.
that type of stuff too. But
Property characteristics.
Property characteristics do make a difference. So while you have the ability, be very smart about what you choose for the house, because you are marrying the house.
But it's next to a 7-Eleven.
No.
I'm a Slurpee fan, so I that to me is a bonus. You just have to find the right buyer. So going back to buyers. Here's an announcement. First-time home buyers, game on right now. Okay.
Yes.
You find folks that are coming out of college, just getting married, just, getting your professional career started. And the number one hurdle still, and always has been, down payment and resources when it comes to funds to close. Now's the time.
Absolutely. Because there are programs that can help with that.
That's one. And number two, you can be asking of the seller to help in that transaction.
One of those programs is asking the seller.
Yeah, one of those programs is asking the seller. So, if I'm speaking emphatically to any one buyer group right now, it's the first-time home buyer.
100%.
You got to get off the fence and you got to get out there and run the numbers. First of all, run the numbers. See if it works for you. If it does, get after it, because you don't have a line. You don't have a dozen people submitting an offer that have 20, 30, 40% down or straight cash that you, the first-time home buyer with 5% down, great credit score, great debt to income ratio.
Awesome job.
5% down versus cash.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
This is actually a conversation I have with a lot of my buyers and sellers. Buyers are like, but if I go that high, then I won't be able to take this vacation. And my response is gently, the sellers don't care.
Right.
Likewise, when you're the seller, you think, well, if I don't get this money, then how am I going to afford this in the future? The buyers don't care.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about what the market will sustain.
Yeah.
No. So I don't know about you.
Yes.
But for me, when I have this conversation with people, I know how they're going to respond to me about rates based on their age.
Oh.
And I don't like to judge things.
Are you profiling people, Darcy?
Well,
profiling?
I guess. I mean, we have the same conversation no matter what, but the reaction that I get from somebody who is, let's say, in their 70s is going to be, rates are still ridiculously low. I remember buying my first house at 17%. Right?
That is a very good point.
Somebody who is buying that is in their, let's say, mid-20s, oftentimes has well, that was good while it lasted. Unfortunately, I missed that, but let's see what I can do. Whereas somebody that tends to be in their 40s, yeah, that's us. I don't know when that happened, but that's us.
Oh, gosh.
They tend to have more reaction to rates going up, and like it's personally against them.
Yeah.
Do you have that too? That experience?
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask that question because I'm in the industry, so I see them go up, I see them go down. I will say it's definitely the older generation. They're like, oh yeah, baby, it's still great. This is 50% of what I was paying. The first time home buyers out there, millennials, I'm speaking directly to you. Your opportunity has not passed. It's still very much there. If you want to go down that path, you could still make that path happen.
Absolutely.
It's not at 3%. It's now at 6 to 7%, right? Our 40-year-olds, our 40-somethings,
Yeah.
we got to get over ourselves, guys. we got to get over. We had it high when we first, as a first-time home buyer, I bought my first house in 2005, right? So my first house was at 6.5%.
I think that's what my husband bought his around 2003. I want to say he said 6 something was his also.
So I was 6.5% with 5% down. Very typical stated income. We'll just leave that one alone. But 5% down stated income. We walked into that house at mid 6s, and we were happy. And we then continued just to watch this ratchet down, and then the mortgage meltdown happened, and then we just troughed out in this pandemic. So we still have yet. This is the highest rate environment anybody under the age of 40 has seen. 40 and under, this is the highest rate environment you've ever seen.
When they could have bought. Yeah. Because I remember 18%, but I was 9, so I couldn't buy then.
You're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Ba-dum-bum.
right? So
true.
Right now, there's really good opportunity for first-time home buyers, even the move-up buyer. If you're realistic on your exit sell, or better yet, you turn that exit property into a rental property because you can get some really good rent right now, and you turn it over 100% to a property manager. We have a property manager show. Go watch that one.
I have a lot of clients that have done that.
There's great transitions out there for you to take advantage and find that next house. Rates are one singular term in the whole transaction.
Yeah.
So
takeaways. Be smart about using the concessions you can get from your seller.
Yeah.
On using them in the way that's most beneficial for you personally.
And I will say this, 90% of the time, it's not getting a lower purchase price.
No, it's usually a full rate buy down. But that's just what us experts say.
Yeah. The other thing is, you owe it to yourself just to have the conversation. Conversations are free. You don't charge for them. I don't charge for them. Nobody in our industry charges to sit down with you and just talk about options. And the more that we explore our options and the more that we understand our options, the more feasible, the more real things become. And that is what moves you to action.
Yep.
So have those conversations.
Absolutely.
And rates, we guarantee rates will move up or down.
They will change.
They will change. Yeah.
This is very, very futuristic.
It is
Rates will
futuristic.
change.
So right on. In closing, I want to just say thank you guys all for tuning in over this past year. We another year in the books.
Check.
Right. Check. Beep. So have a great holiday season, and we will catch back up with you guys in the fine year of 2023.
What?
Bum, bum, bum.
Ugh, when did that happen?
So, any holiday plans, Darcy?
No.
No.
What about you?
We're having family over to the house in Coeur d'Alene for Thanksgiving, and then we'll be at my dad's house for Christmas. Is what we're doing.
Well, that's good. That's good. My sister-in-law and I have a little bit of a prank planned, but just in case our families watch this, we will not go further.
Can you record the prank and then we'll play it? We'll play it.
We'll see.
Well, maybe we'll do a live. You want to do a live for your prank?
Possibly. We're still figuring out if it's Thanksgiving.
Follow
or
us, share, like, and we'll have a prank live by Darcy Harding. Yes. No?
Probably not.
Are you going to channel your inner jackass? Is that what you're doing?
I don't have an inner jackass.
Oh, no, like the Jackass movies, guys.
I know.
Oh, you don't have that person?
That was kind of a joke. I do. All right on, everybody. Have a great one.
Yep. Thank you. And we'll catch you next time on Realty Experts.
See you soon.